All right, YouTube, we're here at the end of episode 50, and we're here with a special guest. Chad, if we were doing ChroNoSos back at WrestleMania 1 in non-daily form, but as a whole, you would have been the main event. So for ChroNoSo 50, I had to get you back here for this star-studded main event here we have at ChroNoSo. What's up, buddy?
Doing good, and what a main event we have. We came a long way from WrestleMania 1.
Well, I got Hogan, so it's like Hogan's foe, and
Yeah,
then we get
yeah.
another
There's
Hogan
one
foe.
constant. Yeah.
A little symmetry there, right? So, but when I had the idea, I'd be like, all right, it's ChroNoSo 50. What can I do? I was like, all right, I'll just have Aaron and Justin kick off because Aaron opened up WrestleMania 1 with the Executioner, Buddy Rose versus Tito Santana. So whatever is ChroNoSo 50, I'm just going to have them do it, right? And then here we are, same sentiment here at the end with Tugboat versus the Conquistador with Hulk Hogan posing at the end. I love what Hogan, we'll get into it too, but Chad, I got a surprise for you, buddy. I kind of didn't hate the match, but it was a squash, so it wasn't like crazy. It was on paper, it was kind of fun for what it was. But Eddie Tugboat or Conquistadors, as I butcher the English language as always, memories before we kind of jump into this match. We're not live watching. I have some stills to kind of go through.
Now, who do we know who Conquistador was here? Was it
Jose Luis Rivera? I don't know.
Rivera? That's Johnny Rods, Jose Luis,
Jose Estrada, maybe. I'm not
yeah.
sure. Hey, look, I saw a mustache, so I meant to kind of. Is it on Cage Match as we kind of?
Well, I'm trying to look. Maybe I may have throttled Cage Match. Tugboat's Cage Match is being throttled right now.
All right. Well, if maybe hopefully this helps you right here. Is this? I don't know. This is the first still we get here.
Let's see. I mean, you can't always trust Cage Match either, but let me see here who they have it as. They have it as Jose Luis Rivera, so more than likely, but
I was more of a Jose Estrada guy.
He has he has 7 matches, Tugboat versus Conquistador. The rest were house show matches. It looks like he did compete both against Conquistador Uno, which is Jose Luis, and Conquistador Dos, which is Jose Estrada. So, who knows with this. But yeah.
This is after their very famous Survivor Series run in '88. So they were kind of cooking deep there in that match. So interesting.
Yeah, they haven't matched up. He hadn't been in with a Conquistador in a couple months here, but Tugboat, like, this is a interesting time for me and my fandom.
Oh yeah, look at him right there.
Because when I first started watching when I was 3-ish.
Okay.
I know because I have home videos of Christmas 1989, and I received a couple of figures.
Oh, awesome!
On there, but I don't remember. I don't remember anything till I'm.
You recall which figures you had?
Yeah, it's the I know the purple Rick Rude.
Okay.
The purple black tights. I don't know.
Series 1 or 2. I forget.
Actually. Yeah, and I think Axe.
Yeah. All right. So I have every Hasbro right here, and we got Rick Rude is series. Where is he? Did Rick Rude not make the cut? He would be at the top, you would think, right? Oh, here he is, right here. Rick Rude. So that's series 2 was Rick Rude right there.
Okay. What about Axe?
Axe is series 2 as well. They were never released together, actually. They were Axe and Smash were 2 solo releases there.
Okay. So. Yeah, I got Smash later. I know it's Axe. Axe is the first one that I really remember. I'm guessing they were just the ones available. And I don't know. Like, my mom always says one day I went into the video store at the supermarket we used to have. Did y'all have that up there up north?
Oh,
yeah. Okay, I didn't know if it was but yeah, the video store in the supermarkets, we didn't even have a Blockbuster in my hometown at that time.
Like a Gallo Video, an extension of a supermarket, right? So
yeah, I mean, they had them in our Kroger's. So Kroger would have a video section, and she said I looked at the cover of Royal Rumble, had to be 89, and just picked it out and watched it. But saying all that, don't remember anything till I was 4. First wrestling memory that I remember is Earthquake crushing Hulk Hogan right around the time we're watching right here. So this big angle. So Tugboat is actually somebody that sadly carries some nostalgia in that when I can remember watching regularly and rigorously, he was on the scene for a lot of that in the main event.
Yeah, so he was actually replaced by the Boss Man at SummerSlam 90, which was the last episode we did here on ChroNoSo. I'm curious why he was replaced. I know Earthquake took him out. I just don't know if they felt that he had the star power, the connection, or I don't know. Like it's kind of weird, right? Because Boss Man was a double duty. He was the referee for Jake and Bad News, and then he was in Hogan's corner like 3 or 4 matches later. So very, very weird.
Yeah. It's weird to me the occupational gimmicks that they go with, like what works and what doesn't. Like a former
a boatsman.
Yeah, I mean, and like who was dressing like this in 1990 still? Like if you were, working at the rig or whatever, like I don't know. Like this is like it almost seems like now, like a Danhausen, like an old school gimmick, timeless Tony Storm, something like that. Like, oh, he's from the 1920s. He's Tugboat. It's very weird.
It wasn't cool.
Yeah, definitely didn't work. Wasn't cool.
I don't know how cool is it though, because look at these fans tugboating around right here.
He did. I don't know how far into the Superstars taping or whatever it was, but he did get a pretty good reaction here.
Yeah. It's funny because Justin did it's funny because when he had Superstars, he had Providence. So I assume that it could be this one or this is the start of the next one. I'm not sure if Hogan was on the Providence one.
It says it's Hershey Park.
Okay, so this is probably early if they went in chronological order of their taping, which who knows if they did or not, right?
Yeah, who knows? It says this is Superstars number 209 aired September 29th. So
yeah.
So,
all right, well, the match here, it's about 65, 70 seconds, but I think we just kind of brush through it until we get to the Hogan part here.
Yeah, it's a 2-minute special, whatever. Like Conquistador bounces around a little bit. Tugboat's finisher's actually not awful with the second rope splash.
Yeah.
He gets pretty good impact on that, so that looked good enough, I thought, for 1990.
I love him when he kind of like clotheslines him over the top rope, but the Conquistador is like, I don't know if I really trust you. And Boat's just like, get out of here. And then he kind of picks him back up and scoop slams him in. I thought that was a pretty good spot for a squash match, right? I thought that.
I mean, I don't. Worked. Yeah, like thinking about Ottman as a wrestler historically, like what his best match historically is, who knows? Like
comedian wise, right?
Yeah,
like something.
It's probably, I mean, it probably is War Games 93 just because he's in there, but
yeah, but all right. So here's a picture of him on the middle rope.
He does the middle. No, yeah, big boy ain't going up top, but
But they did pan on this goddamn hat afterwards for like 3-4 seconds as he stoically went to the turnbuckle and put it back on, and then they panned to the crowd going nuts when he was putting his little Popeyes hat on, I assume.
Yeah.
I don't know what is he.
And Roddy and Vince on commentary had been teasing that Tugboat had a surprise. So here's the big reveal.
But hey, actually, it's funny that I have this picture here, Chad, because before they were panning away to the big reveal, they had little Chad Campbell with his Hulkamania Hasbro.
Yeah, that actually is pretty accurate. I'd have been
You're like, wow, that match has hooked me.
The guy on the kid on the left there has a flat top, looks like, which is the haircut I was rocking as well at that point in time. So
believe it or not, I'm not a hair aficionado. I was mostly a buzz cut guy, but I was a buzz cut guy with, unfortunately, a rat tail, I guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So I think God punished me for kind of having that rat tail and made me lose my hair at 23, 24.
That makes a lot of sense.
But here we go with the big surprise. Hey, look at this. Hulkster with the
He's giving the tug. Yes.
And then look at the excitement in Tugboats when Hogan comes in here to kind of put him over with the toot toot. And then we have the, oh my God, it's the Hulkster ripping his shirt off.
Yeah, I guess for Gay Pride Month, it's good that like Tugboat was like oogling over Hogan ripping his shirt off. Like he loses his mind. I mean, had he never seen that before? I didn't really understand his reaction to there, but he's loving it, of course. I find this odd just that they created this because you got like a pretty heated angle with Hogan versus Earthquake. And I guess kind of in the aftermath of SummerSlam, they were, looking for things to do on like, I guess the house show run. So, but it feels like they've kind of added two cronies and made the heat of that angle subside a little bit by adding Tugboat and Dino Bravo to the scene. Like that's a little bit of subtraction by addition, in my opinion, adding those two guys to the picture there.
Yeah, so at the end of SummerSlam, pretty much Hogan gives a stoic interview saying that, he's earthquake-proof all of the buildings and the arenas that he's going to go to, and that, he's going to get his Harley and he's going to ride up the chain of the command, the ladder, and he's pretty much going to take his belt back sooner rather than later. And what you're going to do, Hulkamania is coming. And he did like these, it was in Philadelphia, so we had the Philadelphia puns and the George Washington, all that stuff,
right.
Whatever, Thomas Jefferson, so on and so forth. But yeah, for him to kind of have that, it was a pretty good promo. Like it was gimmick Hogan, but the intensity and the mission was really, really good. But then to see him here, like tugboating and toot-tooting around, it's just like, all right, is that on pause or half the audience isn't going to care? But when they check back in, I'll be kind of ramped up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's odd at this point in time. Like at this specific moment in time, like what was the long-term plan, right? Like, did they still think it was going to be Hogan Warrior 2 at Mania? We hadn't got the Slaughter stuff happening yet.
He's just ramping up, really.
Yeah, like, did they think they could stretch out the Earthquake feud? It's kind of one of the few areas I'd say in Hogan's run from 84 up to, like WrestleMania 8, where you kind of don't know what direction they were planning on going, like long term, right around this moment.
Yeah, so the Hulkamaniacs is Bossman, Tugboat, Duggan, and Hogan versus the Natural Disasters, Haku, Earthquake, Bravo, and Barbarian at Survivor Series. So they're kind of still in this like goofy state, and then obviously at the Rumble he's ramped up 491.
Yeah, I mean once the Gulf War stuff starts with Slaughter, it's a pretty drastic shift to that. But they wouldn't have known that was gonna happen here. So like, would they have shifted it to him versus Warrior? But I don't know. It's interesting to think like when that changed, like it,
because Warrior is on a mission statement because Sherry kind of goes right at his throat saying, Macho's coming for you, right?
That also feels pretty sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, like you look at like Survivor Series 90, like Warrior in that nothing match with the corpses of Demolition. Speaking of Demolition Acts, and then him and Hogan are standing tall in the ultimate survival match or whatever at the end. So maybe it still probably leads to me thinking they might have went towards him versus Warrior still at that time, but stuff changed very quickly.
All right, Chad, we're at the end of this historical ChroNoSo 50. And what did you enjoy more, WrestleMania 1 main event or this Tugboat Hulk Hogan segment?
I put them all equal on the scale of historical performances here.
And now, do you think if Hogan did the boot, who woo the whole time instead of the ear cup, he would have just got as over as he had.
Hogan doing the toot toot actually is a pretty good solid for his buddy. Like, he legitimately is friends with Ottman. And I mean, he's not someone that's too willing to like with Warrior, for instance, he's not exactly shaking the ropes or doing any homages to him. So
a lot of shit doesn't work for him, brother, but apparently tooting does. So
yeah, he gives Tugger a solid by tooting out to the ring.
yeah, this was fun. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks. Yeah.